what was going through your mind, and what are some of the lessons that you have taken with you in your journey advocating for change, sometimes against the majority?
I actually realized that many of us who are in practice, and it applies generally in every society, you see the deficiencies, you complain,
Right.
but very few people take action.
Yes, that's true.
And I believe that change begins with self.
Right.
By deciding, let me be the change that I want to see. And then beginning to even campaign for the position, telling colleagues, hey guys, I have a desire, I have a passion to see things done differently in the judiciary, in the legal profession. And as you rightly pointed out, I had friends who I knew were seemingly very successful,
Right.
but were not doing things right. And then I am telling them that I want to go into the leadership of the Law Society of Kenya, Mombasa, to influence change, which means to start scrutinizing the way we do things, because I was telling colleagues that it takes two to tango.
Right.
You cannot talk of a corrupt bench without talking of a corrupt bar.
Yeah.
I was telling them that there are very few non-practitioners who would have the courage to approach a judge, a magistrate, to influence them. That we are the purveyors of that corruption.
Right.
And I was overwhelmingly elected. And then, having assumed that position of leadership, and doing, because at the time we were also doing a lot of civic education in another forum in Mombasa. We had a body known as CLEAR. CLEAR meant Christian Legal Aid and Research.
Right.
I was speaking to a lot of members of public in churches, in public institutions.
Yes.
And now here I had an added responsibility as chairman of Law Society Mombasa. Beginning to receive complaints about colleagues who had, for example, embezzled clients' funds. Not all of them, but a number of them.
Right.
And now having to tell my colleagues that unless you pay up this money, I'll advise your client to write the Advocates Complaints Commission, the Law Society, to take action against you.
Yeah.
And confronting judges and magistrates in a very polite way to say that things are not good in this registry. Things are not good in this court. It was not an easy task, as you say, because your colleagues, judges, advocates, it's like they want to ask you, who are you?
Right.
Where have you come from?
Yeah.
What makes you think that you're better than us? But as I said, there was a drive from within to change the way we do things.
Right.
As advocates.
Yes.
And as the bench then.
Right.
Magistrates and judges.
Right.
I don't know whether I'm answering your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that you say that it's not easy.
Yes.
But there has to be a reckoning you have as an individual, as yourself, to say, but I believe in a system getting better, and therefore I must do my part. I wonder then what it has meant for you now to be president of the Court of Appeal. You know, just as a member of the profession, I mean, it's the stuff of dreams to get to the from the High Court to the Court of Appeal. I know in the media you are described as soft-spoken but firm. What has it meant for you to be someone with a very big responsibility, a very big title, but not hold the ostentatious flamboyance that we often see with some of the leaders we have in our country? Is it a personality? Is it a strategy for you to embody that firm personality that you have?
I think I must start by saying that the fear of God in me, because I'm a firm believer in the Word of God.
Wow.
As a born-again Christian.
Wow.
That I am first and foremost accountable to God.
Right.
For everything that I do.
Right.
Yes, I swore to defend the Constitution, administer justice in accordance with the law. But I know that I will give an account to God about each and everything that I do.
Right.
And let me just go back briefly and say that when I joined the judiciary, I say to myself, and said it in prayer, that God, I don't want to treat anyone the way some judicial officers, not all of them, treated me or treated lawyers in my days of legal practice.
Right.
And just the desire of wanting to do things in a fair manner. And Nakuru was my first posting. I remember the first session that before I did my first hearing in Nakuru, I requested to have a meeting with the Law Society and court staff, and just to get to know one another. And I introduced myself, and I said, I am so and so. This is my first session as a judge.
Right.
And this is how I expect us to work.
Right.
I laid my terms of engagement with the practitioners, with the members of the public.
Right.
And one of the first things I told them was that in my court, we will start court on time and finish on time. One of the things I disliked in legal practice is that in those days, you couldn't tell when court will start.
Right.
The court list in Mombasa would read 8:30.
Right.
There are times you would be hanging around the corridors. A magistrate or a judge would walk in
Right.
at 10:30.
Oh.
No apology. They would go in, mention a few matters, take a tea break at 11:30. The tea break may last about half an hour. You come back at noon
Gosh.
or thereabout.
Yeah.
By 1 o'clock, it's time to go
You're
for lunch.
done. Wow.
In the afternoon,
Yeah.
the judge may choose whether to come back to court or not.
Oh gosh.
As I say, not all of them. There were a few of them who are very hardworking and duty conscientious.
Yes.
But there are a number of them who were doing things like that. So I had said to myself, I would want to do things differently.
Yes.
I told Nakuru practitioners that I will not entertain any form of corruption in my court. I would want things done transparently as much as possible. I told my secretary, please, I do not want you to ever come and tell me so-and-so is my friend or is my relative, and they have this matter. And neither do I want anyone to come and see you and tell you that Judge is my friend,
Right.
is my relative,
Right.
is my classmate.
Yes.
And so I want to see them, because I knew those are the kind of loopholes that people take advantage of.
Yes.
And I know the first 1 week, after saying that, for example, we'll be starting hearings at 9 sharp,
Right.
I had to dismiss a few matters for warrant of prosecution where counsel walked into court at 9:05.
Oh gosh. Wow.
They would find their matters either dismissed, and when they applied for reinstitution of reinstatement of those matters, I would order the advocates to pay costs personally,
Right.
not their clients.
Right.
I don't know whether that, they paid, themselves or their clients eventually ended up paying. But the message that I was passing across was, we need to respect time.
Right.
I told them we'll be starting court at 9. At 11, we all take a health break. Up to 11:15, you can go have a cup of tea. You can make a phone call. 11:30, 11:15, we start. We go on up to 1.
Yeah.
So you know that by 1, we must adjourn.
Yes.
It's so that we all either go for lunch
Yes.
or take a rest.
Yes.
And we come back at 2:30 sharp,
Yes.
up to 5.
Yes.
And that was just as a routine. Just a matter of introducing a discipline that I thought was lacking in many courts
Right.
that I had been during my time of, in legal practice.
Right.
And so those are things that I kept on improving over the years.
Yes.
As I moved from Nakuru
Yes.
to other courts
stations.
and so on.
Yes.